Now we're going to look at different types of studies that can be conducted to collect information. So the first type is an experiment. So this is an activity in which researchers manipulate one variable by imposing a treatment on some of the subjects of the experiment in order to determine if the treatment has an effect on another variable. So this is important that we are imposing a treatment. Okay, that's what tells us that this is an experiment. Okay, the researcher is actually making the group of people do something. So for example, a researcher divides a group of people with eczema into two groups and has one group take a vitamin E pill daily to see if their symptoms improve. So because this is an experiment, because the researcher is saying this group needs to take the pill, and most likely they have another group that has some sort of placebo, which would be like a pill that's not vitamin E, just to see if there's a difference there. That this would be an experiment. So in this experiment, the vitamin E pill is the treatment. Now, sometimes we can confuse experiments and observational studies. An observational study uses observation to determine whether an existing condition called a factor in a population is related to a characteristic of interest. Observational studies are best conducted when natural conditions allow for studying existing control and/or treatment groups. The subjects of the study and their environment are not controlled in any way. This is what makes it different from an experiment. Normally, the treatment is already in there. It's already a control group that's already existing. We're not making them change anything, okay? Due to the fact that we're using existing groups, observational studies are rarely, if ever, considered random, okay? So for example, a researcher examines a group of smokers and a group of non-smokers to determine whether the incidence of heart disease is higher amongst those who smoke. Being a smoker would be the factor, and having heart disease is the characteristic of interest. Okay, it would be unethical to divide a room up into these half people need to start smoking, and let's see if you get heart disease, and this other half you don't get to smoke, and we're going to see if you get heart disease. Like, that's unethical. But you can find people that are already smoking, and we can analyze their health results and see if there's a connection. Okay, so this is why it's an observational study. We're not changing their habits. We're not imposing a treatment. Now, the last type of study is actually a type of observational study, and it's called a sample survey. So this is when we actually use a data collection tool to ask questions to measure a characteristic of interest about a population. You all take sample surveys all the time. Okay, you do them on Canvas. Maybe you've given your own survey. Okay, most people don't confuse sample surveys. Sample surveys are just more a specific type of observational study. So for example, a researcher asks a random sample of adults how much time they spend watching television each day. Okay, it's self-reported. So down here at the bottom, number 4, we're going to look at 3 examples, and we're going to decide if these are sample surveys, observational studies, or an experiment. So on letter A here, it says a gym asked its customers if they would prefer the gym to open earlier in the morning. Because they are asking, this is a sample survey. Okay, they're just surveying the people that walk in. B says a gym tries out a new weightlifting method to see if it will build muscle for their customers faster than their current method. So because they're actually trying out a new method, that means they're having their customers try something different and they're comparing the results. This is an experiment. Now our last one, a gym counts the customers who come before 8 a.m. Because all they're doing is observing the number of people that come in to the gym before 8 a.m., this is an observational study. Okay, so given a scenario, you need to be able to determine if that scenario is a sample survey, an experiment, or an observational study.